continuing on, I've been doing some of my favorite progressions and chords that move with little bass moves along with it. So for instance, this one here, I'm playing like an E minor, a D with an F sharp in the bass, and then to a G. And eventually I go to a C and back to a G and a D. But what's cool about it is it has a little moving bass part that's fairly simple. So I wanted to share this with you. It's one of my, kind of progressions, my go-to progressions that I like to do if I'm writing or jamming or whatever. So we start out with an E minor, and in this case I do it using my second finger, the second fret of the A, and my third finger resting on the E note of the D string, which is the second fret. So that, there's lots of ways to play E minor, that's one of them. But you'll see why in a minute. So when I'm making the climb from that, just straight old E minor, and then what I do is I finger the D by putting my third finger on the second fret of the G string and my pinky on the third of the B. And then I rest my second finger on the second fret of the low E, which is an F sharp note. So it's got that slash chord sound, not slash the guitar player, but a slash chord, which is something other than the root in the bass. Nice sound, huh? And that leads you to a G chord. There's somehow that climb, to me, it really is a cool thing. I've heard it done both ways, down, up, whatever, descending or ascending. But in this case, I'm just going to stick with this move, and hopefully you can add this to your repertoire. So check it out. Okay, one more time slowly. E minor. And then D with an F sharp. This is a little bit of a stretch, but, and then just any old G, however you want to hit it. And then I go to a C, and then a G, and then a D. Back to the E minor, rest. So I'm just basically making up a little ditty here. But the point is that if you have that under your fingers, you can use it in many different ways, and you can, as I'm about to show you, you can walk it up or walk it down. So these are, I don't know, they're kind of handy, I think, to have as an acoustic player, to know these moves and how they work. Because you could also be, and I'm going to do a lesson later on today on capos, using a capo and the importance of it, at least in my estimation. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to take it slowly, and then I'm going to slowly move it up in tempo, and you'll get a feeling, and then I'm going to do the reverse and descend the same chord. So here we go again with the E minor, the D with an F sharp, and then a G, and then C. Now in this case I made it a C major 7th out of it. I took this note and I opened it up and used it as a little lick in between, so it's first fret on the B string, open, second fret of the G, open G, and then back to the G chord. So now you've got a couple of moves. Just repeat, rinse and repeat. It's an easy strum. Now I'm going to move the tempo up just a hair and see how that feels. Pretty cool. Let's reverse it. Instead of going E minor, D, G, let's go G, D, E minor. See how that feels. Different feel, but still equally as cool. Let's stab it on the way up. That's kind of a nice easy strum to it. So now you see that basically the same moves are being used. The G, the D with the F sharp, the E minor, but I'm just reversing the pattern. But there's something about that moving bass line that I think really, for me anyway, makes it really flow. And all the other things that we put in, those are just connective tissue that connect the chords with a, I call it interior melody, whatever, you know. Sometimes it helps to, if you're singing a song, you know, and you've got a vocal going, you know, whatever, making stuff up. It's kind of cool. Then maybe walk it up here. Fiddling around, you know, experimenting, and you should do the same. So, because what I'm really encouraging everybody to do here when I give a lesson like this, whatever I show you in the lesson, you know, and they're generally just, I call it blues you can use, but they're just things that, like vocabulary licks or cool chords that I really like, just so you can add it to your repertoire, your quiver, as it were, and then, you know, whether you're writing or just jamming, you got it. You know, you got it in under your fingers, which I think is what makes, you know, for interesting acoustic guitar playing, you know, having a knowledge of chords, not so much, I don't get so much into theory and scales. I mean, there's so many more teachers that are better at explaining that than I am. I can do it, but I'm not that great at explaining really intricate scales and arpeggios and stuff. I can do them, but I'm not very good at explaining them. But I am pretty good, I think, hopefully, explaining, you know, chordal moves, which I find interesting. You know, and slash chords, and, you know, adding those cool bass notes that really make a chord kind of widen out and get more compelling in a song, for sure, I think. So I hope you enjoyed that. And hit me up at jimmydillon.com if you got any questions or any suggestions or requests. I'll for sure try and get to it. And until then, I'll see you down the road.